In the spring of 1943, it became apparent to the Imperial Japanese Navy Command that it was losing the initiative in the battles in the Solomon Islands and New Guinea. The successful evacuation of troops from Guadalcanal could create the appearance of victory, but did not cancel the fact that the island remained in the hands of the Americans, controlling the most important airfield. On New Guinea, the fleet was unable to provide any appreciable assistance to the Japanese army, which suffered a brutal defeat on the coastal bridgeheads in December 1942, January 1943. An attempt to hold a naval convoy with reinforcements ended in an unexpected defeat, March 3-5, 1943, in the Bismarck Sea. Australian and American planes sunk 4 destroyers and 8 transports. In such circumstances, Commander-in-Chief of the Combined Fleet Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto in mid-March 1943 planned an operation called Igo, sometimes Igo Sakusen translated as Operation Y, but any sense of the combination of characters Igo does not have. The essence of it was to deliver powerful airstrikes by naval aircraft against Allied ships and airfields on Guadalcanal and New Guinea. The available forces of the 11th Air Fleet, Commander, Vice Admiral Jinichi Kusaka, headquarters in Rabaul, was increased at the expense of air groups removed from the ships of the 1st and 2nd Divisions of aircraft carriers. It was believed that about 350 aircraft involved will be able to bring the Americans and Australians sensitive counterstrike, leveling their recent successes. In the early days of April 1943, American Aerial Reconnaissance recorded a significant increase in the number of Japanese aircraft based in the Solomon Islands. Skirmishes occurred regularly. Thus, on April 1st at Russell Island, the Americans lost 6 fighters in an air battle with a large group of Zeros. But on April 3rd, great success achieved American bombers. At Kavienga, flying fortresses, B-17 seriously damaged the heavy cruiser, Aoba, without losing a single plane. Due to the explosion of torpedoes on board, the Japanese ship was out of commission until November 1943. Yamamoto's planned airstrike on Guadalcanal was postponed several times due to weather conditions and did not take place until April 7th. 110 A-6M fighters and 67 D-3A dive bombers from air groups of the 1st and 2nd Carrier Divisions, as well as the 21st and 26th Air Flotillas took to the air. The Japanese planned to catch a significant number of ships at Anchorage, which they said included cruisers. Indeed, off the island at that time was the American Task Force 18, which included the light cruisers Honolulu, Helena, and St. Louis. At 14, U.S. radar operators reported a large group of aircraft approaching Guadalcanal. Army Air Forces and Marine Corps aviation fighters, 36 F-4F Wildcat, 13 P-39 Air Cobra, 12 P-38 Lightning, 9 F-4U Corsair, and 6 P-40 Warhawk, rose to intercept and engage the Japanese fighter cover. Taking advantage of this, the Japanese dive bombers broke through to Tulagi Harbor relatively freely. There were no cruisers there, but there were plenty of targets for attack. A floating base of torpedo boats, 2 tankers, a dozen transports, 8 LST tank landing ships, as well as several small warships. The attack began shortly after 15 May. Not surprisingly, the Allies suffered casualties. The first victim was the tanker USS Kanahawa, built in 1915, standard displacement, 50 m, 23 tons, which was leaving the harbor under the protection of a destroyer and a small hunter. It was attacked by 15 Japanese dive bombers, and the slow-moving vessel had no chance for salvation. It received 5 bomb hits and caught fire. The crew abandoned the tanker. 19 sailors died in the attack. Later, Kanahawa was towed to the shoal, where it sank on the morning of April 8th. The next Japanese attack hit the New Zealand corvette Moa, built in 1941, standard displacement, 607 tons, armament, 102 mm cannon and anti-aircraft machine guns. The ship was taking on fuel from a tanker and was out of range when it was attacked by several dive bombers. The anti-aircraft gunners had time to open fire, but the corvette quickly took a direct bomb hit to the superstructure, and 2 more bombs exploded off its side. The MOA capsized and sank within minutes. Fortunately for the New Zealand sailors, they lost only 5 men killed. American destroyer Aaron Ward, type Gleaves, 1942 year of construction, standard displacement, 2070 tons, armament, 4 127mm guns, anti-aircraft guns and 5-tube torpedo device. During the air attack covered the tank landing ship LST-449. 3 dive bombers came at it from the sunward side. Bombs exploding off the side caused the engine room to flood, rendering the ship without propulsion and power. Immediately afterward, a second trio of bombers attacked the immobilized destroyer, achieving 2 more close bursts. 27 men were killed aboard the Aaron Ward. The Americans tried to bring the ship to the shoal, but it took on too much water and sank in the evening.